Hey everybody, and welcome to this video tutorial. This is the second part, or the second it's the second tutorial of my CoronaSDK beginner's guide. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to start our developing a little bit, just like a little sample test project is what we're going to start with. I think the best way to learn Lua and to learn Corona is actually just by applying it to stuff. So to say, this is what we're going to make, let's do it. So what we're going to be making is a very stripped down version of Angry Birds. We're going to make the basic gameplay of the game, and that's it. So it's just going to be very, very, very basic, just to show you how to do basic things in Corona and stuff. So it's, if you if you can see this here, I'll try to enlarge that for you as well, so you can see it better. I'll make it that big. Make it like that. There we go. So you can see we're going to start the physics. We're going to draw a circle and give it physics. We're going to draw a floor and give it physics. We're going to draw multiple boxes all at once. So instead of like this floor where we have to do a separate line for each box, we're just going to create a for loop that's going to create boxes and all that stuff. And then we're going to have a function for when the circle is touched and an event listener for that touch event. So we're going to start by opening up the Corona simulator. And that's going to open up here, and we're going to be able to click simulator. I was working on my other project the other day. So we're going to go, we just want to go to desktop. And we're going to go into Corona tutorials, basics. Oh, and if you want this project the way it is here, you can just I'll have a link to this in the description if you want, or you can just create a new project. But if you are going to create, if you haven't created a project already, then what you want to do is you want to have it in landscape. But if you already have it in portrait, that's okay too, because that's going to allow us to learn how to change that stuff easily, even though I'm pretty sure I showed you in the last one. But we're going to be working with the iPad for this one, okay? This is going to be an iPad-specific tutorial. You can do this on iPhone or the Galaxy S3 or pretty much anything else, but I developed it with the iPad, so I'm just going to use the iPad because it's just going to be basically changing the numbers that I have on my here to fit your screen size. And we'll also be talking about doing these separately a little bit later. All right, so we have in this file, this is our build.settings file. We need to get this iPad turning right. All right, so we basically just copy landscape left here and paste it as the default orientation, as well as make it a supported orientation. But we also want to make one more, which is going to be our landscape right. Paste that in, give it a save, and then the iPad turns sideways. And look at that, we're already good to go. We're already making progress. All right, so we're going to go back over into the main.lua. We can close the build settings now. We don't need that anymore. I don't think there's anything in the config. Yeah, you can customize the screen size if you so wish, which I may actually do. No, it's fine. I developed this with the same stuff, so that's okay. All right, so we're gonna go back. We don't need build settings or that. So we're gonna go back into our Lua file, and we're gonna start by drawing a circle in the middle of the screen. So to do this, you have to create it. You have to make it as a variable. I'm going to shrink this a little bit. It's a little bit too big. There we go. So you basically have to create a variable, and how you do that is you type local, the name of the variable. So in this case, we're just going to call it circle, and then you want to go is equal to. So everything to do with drawing stuff, drawing different shapes, is all under the display class. So you can just go display dot new circle. If you don't have the code hinting, you're using Notepad++ or another text editor, you're going to have to just type the stuff out fully, but I'm going to use... I'll try not to use these as much as possible, just because, just for that fact. But display.new circle, and it's basically going to ask us for the X center, the Y center, and the radius. So the X and the Y center are the position on the screen, so relative to the center of the circle. So we're going to be using display dot what is it here? Content center X and content center Y. So display.content center X, capital C on center, and a capital X. So you can just put that in both spots. And if you are using the code hinting, you can just type in center X, and it will pull it up for you, and then just press enter, and it'll put it in. Now, one thing you are going to have to really look out for. I'm just going to start a new one here quickly. So let's go local circle 2. Circle 2 is equal to display. If you go display dot and then you type in new circle, what it's going to do, and this throws me off all the time, is it's going to put in display twice. I don't know why it does that. It just does. So just look out for that when you have errors. Check that first, because it gets past my eye all the time. And now we have to pick the radius, and I'm going to go 20 for the radius. So as we save our Lua file, the simulator will automatically update without us even having to refresh it. So I press Command S, it creates it. See, but it's actually not in the center of the screen. So let's check that. Oh, I went center X on both. I want center Y, not center X. There we go. So now it's right in the center of the screen, and that's pretty good for now. So now we're gonna create physics, and we're gonna load them and start them and all that stuff. So to load the physics, what you got to do is you want to create another variable because we need to store it in something. So we're going to create a local variable called physics. You can call this whatever you want. I'm just going to call it physics, and you just want to go is equal to require, and then within parentheses and double quotes, you want to type in physics. Another thing I'll mention: Lua has no semicolons most of the time. So most of the time, you can just type stuff, and you don't have to put a semicolon on the end. You don't have to use a lot of curly brackets or anything like that either. But anyway, moving on. So now after we've done that, now we can just type in physics. I type that right. Physics dot start. Physics dot start. Do that, save, and now it's started. But yeah, as you can see, stuff still isn't happening. So we're gonna have to add our circle to the physics, or we're gonna have to give it physics. So we're gonna type in physics dot add body, and now this is basically gonna give us a basic template for physics. So we gotta tell what object we want it to be, or that we want it to give physics to, which is circle. And now and then we also have to give it the type. So it's static, dynamic, or kinematic. We're going to go with dynamic. So I'll explain at least the first two, because I'm not sure when you're actually going to use the kinematic one. So static is basically going to be, it doesn't have gravity. It's fixed in one spot, but other objects are affected by it in the space, which we'll be doing later when we do the floor. So we got circle, dynamic, and now we got these 4 properties. This last one, take it off. We don't need it. Get rid of it for our basics, and as you can see, it drops. So these last 3 here, this is the density, the friction, and the bounce. So the density is the weight of it. The friction, if you want to have a ball that bounces forever, you want to set the friction to 0. And then as long as it's able to bounce off something, it'll just keep bouncing off stuff, and it will never stop. And then you also have your bounce, how much bounce it has. And I will be able to demonstrate these, at least the bounce, the bounce and the friction a little bit more after we've completed a little bit more of the code. So the next thing we're going to do is the floor. So to go ahead and type local floor. Now these names I'm giving them are not names you have to have. Again, you can name these whatever you want. I could name this butt face if I wanted to. You know, it doesn't really matter as long as everything correlates. All right. So we're going to type in floor, and this is display dot new rectangle or new rect. This parent group, you don't need that on there, so you can get rid of that. So we just have the left, the top, the width, and the height is what we need to specify here. So we want it to be the left. We want it to be 0 because we want it to start right at the one edge. The top, we want it to be not quite in the center of the screen, so we're going to type in center Y. We're going to get the center Y, and we're going to add 150 to it. That's going to drop it down a little bit more. Again, this code is going to be available. It's not. See, this is actually a good thing. When you have an error, it's going to tell you right there. This is what the error is on line this bad argument of the new rectangle. Blah blah blah. So that's okay. That's fine. we can deal with that because we haven't filled out all the parameters yet, and I'm just used to saving all the time. But so yeah, your display.content center Y. This code will also be available for you to look at if you need to compare. I'll have that available as well when this video goes up. But anyway, continue on. So we want to set the width. Now, if we want to get the full, if we want it to span all the way across, this is just display dot content width. All right, that's all that is. It's a very simple thing. And then the height, I think I made it. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. I made it 4 high. Just a very small. Now, as you saw, I saved it. Well, you didn't see me save it, but I saved it, and it didn't update because I got to click relaunch now, and now it will relaunch it. But as you can see, so now we got that line there. But as you can see, it didn't interact with it because we haven't added the physics to it yet. So we're just going to go to the end here, and we're going to type in physics dot add body. And we're going to type in the object, which is a rectangle. So this is going to be, so this is our floor. And we want it to be static. We don't want it to move on its own. Density, we're just going to, for some reason, it's not putting it in for us. We're just going to make it 1.0. Friction, 0.3. Bounce is 0.2. And the rest of these parameters we do not need. This last parameter we don't need it on there. So when we do that, and we got an error here. What's the error? We're on line 13, physics. See, it did that double stuff again. There we go. So relaunch. So as you see, now the ball stops and hits that thing. Or the floor. But now, another thing that we need to look at is on the physics. The ball, right now, by default, Corona puts a box for physics around the object and does it so like for a circle. Right now, if we displayed the physics body on it, it's going to be a square. So we need to change that. By adding an extra parameter to our physics at the very end. It's just radius is equal to, and then the radius of our ball, which is 20. So now that's going to give it a circle radius, so that's going to be able to roll around instead of staying in one spot. So we've done that. Now what we're going to move on to is drawing our multiple boxes. That's what we're going to do next. So we're just going to go down here to the next part. So now, for statements. This is actually pretty easy to do these for statements. It's nothing complicated. So it's for, and then we got to create a variable, of course, as a normal for statement goes. And we may just make it equal to 0. put a colon, nope, a comma, and a space, and then how many times you want it to run. So in this case, we're going to do 10, and then you type do, and then you end it by typing end. It's that simple. It's really easy. So we're going to create a rectangle. So we're going to call local rectangle is equal to display dot rectangle display dot new rect. Same thing. Get rid of that parent group. We don't need it on there. We're going to give it a left position. We're going to put it. We're going to put it at the center X. Plus about 50 or so. So that's going to draw them at the half mark and then a little bit further, which is okay for now, which is good. Fantastic. All right, so, and actually another thing we're going to do here is we're going to, on the circle, for the X, we're going to minus 100 to pull it back a little bit. My chair just fell down. My chair is absolutely fucking terrible. Yes, little snitch. Thank you. Go away. All right. So we've done that. Yes, it's going to give us errors because we haven't specified all of our parameters yet in our rectangle. So now this one is a little bit different. So we're going to be using parentheses here. So we're going to do a set of parentheses, and within these parentheses, we're going to type in display. We want the center Y, so type it. So I'm just going to type in center Y, like that. That's fire. There we go. Okay, so we got the center Y, and we want to minus 100 from that. All right, and then outside of that parentheses, we want to type plus another set of parentheses. And we want to type in 20 times I. So basically what that's saying, so we're going to give them width and a height of 20. So it's basically saying, so it's from the center Y minus 100, add on 20 plus, or 20 times I. So I is going to go 0, 1, 2, 3. Actually, no, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth, right? So it's going to go 20 times I. So it's going to basically say it's 20 times 1, 20 times 2. So it's always going to put it down one full block so that they're not going to overlap and cause stuff. So now if we click, we got to click relaunch over here. As you can see, we got a line. It might look like a solid bar, right? But if I increase the spacing to, like, let's say 25, not 250, 25, then you're going to see there's spaces, that those are all separate different boxes, but they're created with one rectangle statement. So put those back to 20. And now we also have to give this stuff physics. Come on. This is basic stuff now. So we're going to go display, sorry, we're going to go physics dot add body. And we're going to specify the rectangle object. And we're going to make them dynamic. Alrighty, and then the rest is fine the way it is. We don't need to change any of that stuff. Except for we might want to take bounce off so they don't... so we're going to make bounce equal to 0. And there you go. Look at those boxes. You can see they drop, and they are actually going to fall over. Let me give you may not be able to see it on your screen, but I can see there now. You can see it now. They're falling over, and it gets realistic. It's pretty realistic physics actually for this kind of thing. So there we go. We got that part. Now we're gonna add. So now we're making an Angry Birds game, right? And you can't have an Angry Birds game without the pull back and fling, right? Now we aren't gonna actually have the pull back on the circle, but we are going to have that same gesture, pull back, let go, and it flings it. So what to do when circle is touched? So we got to create a function here. So we type function, and in this function we just got to type. We're going to call it circle touched, and we're going to give it one parameter of event. And again, just like the for loop, you just type end to end it. Lua is a lot like Basic, and Basic was really, explained stuff out. It wasn't, you're not using curly braces and things like that to start and end things. You start it with by typing the words, and you end it with the words. It's very self-explanatory. Well, that when you look at it, you pretty much know exactly what it is. Even if you've never seen it before, you can probably figure it out. So we've done that. I'm just going to take a quick drink here. All right, there we go. So, yeah, I'm drinking fluids now while I do these tutorials. So now we're going to type. We want to have an if statement, an if event dot phase. So since we are going to be looking for a touch event, so event dot phase, and then we need to give it what part of the touch event we're looking for, and we want the beginning and the end of the touch event. So what we want to type in is if event dot phase is equal to then, and you actually do type then. I'm not. It's not a typo. We tell it what we want it to do. So basically, what we want it to do is set the focus to the circle, because the way it works with it, if we didn't put this line in, is that this circle that we created is only in focus, so it's only going to get a touch event when it's actually on it. But when we put this in, what it's going to do is we're going to set the focus to the circle, so that even when we pull and it's not on the circle, it will still apply the touch event to that circle. All right. I hope that makes sense. So we got to type in display dot get current stage. All right, and then there's no parameters. Now at the end we got to type colon set focus. Now for this, don't bother doing the autocomplete, because it just kind of screws it up for you. So colon set focus, capital F on focus, 2 parentheses, and within the parentheses type in circle. So that's what we want to set it. That's what we want to be for the focus to be set on. But we're not quite done with this function yet, or with this if statement. So now we got to do an else if, and then if the event dot phase. So we're saying if the phase of the event is equal to ended, then. So when it's ended, we want it to apply a linear impulse, which is going to be a one-time impulse. Sends it in a certain direction, and that's it. And then we want to set the focus, or we want to take the focus off of the circle at that point, so that no other touch events are going to be on that circle. So we're going to type in circle, and we're going to put a colon, and we're going to type apply linear impulse. Now, we got some parameters here. So we got the X force, the Y force, the body X, and the body Y. So now basically for the X force and the Y force, that's going to give us basically the direction and how much a force is going to be applied to it. And then the body X and body Y are where the force is going to be applied to. So we want it in the center of the circle. We could go say like circle.x plus 10, and then that's going to put it right at the edge. It's going to apply it on the edge, and it's going to make it go, like, it's going to apply the force. It's like you take a ball and poke it at the bottom, or punch it at the bottom. That's the same kind of reaction you're going to have with this. But we're not going to do that. We want it applied right to the center. So now this is a little bit confusing, all right? So you really got to pay attention here. So we're going to put in 2 sets of parentheses around X-force, and then we're going to change X-force to event.xStart. So basically that's saying, that's going to give us what the start of the X position was. So let's say the ball is, or the circle is at 500, 500. That's the start position. And then, so when we drag it back, we want to minus the event.x, which is basically going to say, so now get that distance between the two. That's going to be the force applied to it. And then outside of that first parentheses, space, /space 2. So we're going to take that force and divide it in half to make it a more controllable force on our object. The same thing for the force, the y force, 2 sets of parentheses, and instead of event.xStart, it's event.yStart minus event.y, which is that there. Outside of the first parentheses, space /space 2, and that's gonna do that. And now we just gotta set the body x and body y, which is gonna be the circle.x and circle.y. And I'm pretty sure that's it. Yep, that's it. So we got the focus, and we got the impulse being applied. But now we got to turn off the focus on the circle, so that as soon as we let go, it's not going to apply it's not going to. It's like if we left it on. Actually, I'll demonstrate this. So if we click it, come on. Maybe it's actually not going to work. So we will do this. So display dot get current stage colon set focus, and we're going to set it to nil, NIL, which is going to say set it to nothing. So let's try this and see if it works. And if it's not working, then we will figure out why it's not working. The glories of debugging. See right here. Display. I hate that. I'm surprised it didn't give us any errors on that. So now if we apply the force, no, we're still not getting the force. Okay, circle apply linear, blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to compare it to my other code here. Else if event.face is equal to ended, then circle colon apply linear impulse, 3 sets of opening parentheses, event.xStart minus event.x divided by 2, and then 2 there, and event.y divided by 2, and then x, circle.x, and circle.y. Ah, yes. It's not going to work yet because we got to add the event listener. Okay. Oh, my God. Okay, so to add an event listener, we type in circle. So basically, pretty much whenever you're modifying the object, if it's not a property of the objects, like if you want the x and y, it's use the dot, right? Like to add an event listener, to change the focus of an object, to apply a linear force to it or a linear impulse, you always use the colon. And so we're going to go with circle, add event listener. All right, and then we got to give it we have to give the event listener a name, or its touch is what we're looking for. So it's basically what it's going to be applying, what force, or not, what the event listener is looking for. In this case, it's touch, and then we want to specify our circle touched function, and that's what it's gonna do. It's gonna go through that function whenever the circle is touched. So we're gonna save that and relaunch the simulator. So now, bam, we got the impulse and it's applied to the ball. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that fantastic? So you can also do it a little bit too fast, and then it's gonna... So if we wanted to have these so you drag them out even farther, we would just change these divided by 2 to maybe like divided by 4, which we'll try. Reload it, and now we should be able to pull back farther before it gives us a huge impulse. That's better. There we go. And look at that. Isn't that fantastic? I think that's fantastic. So anyway, that's pretty much the end of this tutorial. The next one, we're going to take the same demo, and we're going to add images into it. And so instead of using new circles and stuff, we're going to switch them over to images, and we're going to do all that fantastic, awesome stuff. So I will see you guys in the next tutorial, which will be today is Wednesday, which will be up on Friday. Yeah, that'll be up on Friday. Thanks for watching. Like the Facebook page if you haven't already. Twitter, follow me on there if you haven't. Instagram, follow me on there. I'll be posting. I post like little snippets or teasers of what I'm doing next for like Minecraft tutorials and stuff. Or if I'm working out a problem for Minecraft tutorial, I post on there. Like I posted on there for the mob when I got it working and all that stuff. Google Plus videos are posted there. The YouTube feed doesn't always put videos, a creator's videos in their subscribers' video feeds, so that's one thing that you have to look out for. And yeah, so thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you guys in the next video.